Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul. I shot several hours of video doing tape removal on Noah's copy of Superman number 9. When I did it, I did not record regular intros and outros because I wanted to minimize the total amount of time that the comic was in the solvent, and I wasn't sure exactly how I'd present it to you. At first, I thought maybe I'd show it to you at some kind of accelerated speed, 4x or 8x. But as I was thinking about it and as I was doing it, I realized because that work really needs to be done very slowly, I didn't want to present it to you sped up and give you anybody the impression that the work could be done or should be done quickly. I thought later about editing some of it out, but many of you have told me that what you love about my videos is the sort of gory detail that I go into. As much as maybe it puts some people to sleep, others are really want to see every step because they want to try to do these techniques themselves. So what I've done is I've edited those hours into bite-sized chunks, and this is going to be your intro for all of them. Please remember that we have a giveaway every month. Link to that is at the bottom of the description. If you're enjoying this video series, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And lastly, if you are going to try any of these techniques out and you need to buy some materials, please use the Amazon affiliate links down in the description. Also helps the channel out. So enjoy, and until next time, take care of one another. So we said the other area that we might be able to get started was this right-hand edge. So let's see if we can't get an edge started there. And I'll do the same thing. I'm going to start with my forceps. Here's another really tiny little overlap area where it might be simpler to get started just because it's tape over tape instead of tape on paper. Yep. That was a good place to get started. Now that we have an edge up, let's see if we can get our spatula under it. No problem. Then let's start doing our gentle force. J-Dub, the bad boy nerd, said that I was the Bob Ross of comic book conservation. And I just reminded myself of Bob Ross a little bit right there when I said gentle force. We're just going to do a happy little tape removal. All right, so what's happening here is this edge of the tape has a little bit of paper on it. I'm not surprised. We pointed this out during our walkthrough that right on this edge there was a stress riser. We knew we already had some fibers that were coming loose. I am going to give it just a little bit more solvent here all along this edge. Just keep it nice and wet. But there is some loss of paper here that is inevitable. And we're going to go nice and slow, and we're going to attempt to minimize it. But the truth is that paper was already lost. We're not really losing it with removing this tape. It was already lost. It was just the fact that it was lost was hidden by all this tape. And I can see here the paper was ripped for sure underneath this, so there's definitely some loss right here. I'm going to try to minimize that, but you can see that chunk was already loose and the tape was just holding it in place. Similarly here, there's a rip. I'm going to try to force my spatula straight down the rip, not give it an opportunity to propagate in either direction. Now you see why I said before, boys and girls, make sure you have a nice, comfortable work position. Good ergonomics, because you're going to be doing this for a while. One thing that's not obvious, but it's worth saying out loud, don't hold your breath while you're doing this. Make sure you breathe. Nice, steady breathing is important. Boy, we do not want to lose that number 9, but it looks like it's already loose, so that's tough. I don't know which layer of tape is on top right here. Okay, the one running vertically up the spine is on top. So that needs to be removed before we can get the horizontal piece off. Well, let's start working that one. I think what I'm going to do too is I'm going to actually cut this off, this chunk, because there's still some adhesive on the paper. And I'd like to just get it out of the way so that it doesn't dry out and drop back down and re-adhere. So I'm going to snip it off right here. And there's another piece of carrier out of the way. And it does take some of the adhesive with it, just not the majority of it. Finding myself wanting to sort of apply a bit of upward pressure here so that I am really careful not to lift paper with the carrier, but then that's lifting the book up out of the solvent as well. So I might try to reposition it a little bit, maybe use my finger to steady it. Remember when we did our walkthrough too, there's this really super hard crease right here. And it's so severe, it almost looks like the page, the cover was cut in half and then taped together. I don't think it was, but I want to be mindful of that really severe crease being potentially a real weak spot. We also know this whole area right here was a super weak spot. I'm not even sure This is, I think, all missing. They may have even put some replacement paper or something in there. See how this is a lot darker than the rest? We'll have to deal with that. But I already expected for us to have super weak paper there. And getting behind this crease is going to be the trick. And maybe I'll come down here a little bit, come back at it from a slightly different angle. Paper around the staple is already loose. That's no surprise, right? That's more or less what you would expect. Again, I'm going to try to get slightly better place. We can start down here too. Keep coming at it from different angles. Got that started. Again, this is a spot where we have tape on top of tape. It's a little bit easier to get started here. Started it with the forceps. We got through the paper at least on one side. I'm going to add some more solvent. Actually, I have some adhesive right here. I'm going to just get it out of the way. It doesn't always come up that way, but when it does, you want to just remove it. It'll save you from having to do that again later. I don't know if this was a secondary piece of tape or if the tape broke right there, but but, oh, it is. It's a second layer of tape. So I had to get underneath a second layer. In fact, what's funny is it's overlapping. There's a piece of tape here that's down first, and then this piece goes over it, and then this top piece goes over that. So we've got to deal with that in terms of separating these. Definitely keep it wet and just continue to work slowly.